Hello, so today's going to be a bit of a fun one. Today we're going to be doing a SUGARCRAFT game. So I'm typically a really big enjoyer of augments and traits that scale with time. I always like to play around something that, as long as you like play around your board and play around your position really well, you have some sort of goal to reach towards the end. I think that's the most fun games I have in TFT. A lot of what I did previously, like in the SUGARCRAFT, often compared to 8-bit, which was a trait that was in 2 sets ago. I think it was in set 10. And 8-bit was my favorite one. If you look at my old YouTube videos, I played 8-bit like every single game that I had a chance to play. Riven Reroll or Caitlyn, I just played 8-bit as many times as possible because I found it really fun. So this was a really fun game for me. And SUGARCRAFT right now is in a really good spot. You might not know this, but SUGARCRAFT is one of the best performing augments to take, especially the prismatic version, which is what I'm going to be playing with in this game. So I'm going to explain how to play it, the general thought process and the general game plan that you're going to try and hit towards later, and why it's doing so well in the stats. So make sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. And yeah, let's go through it. We're just going to wait till see the augment so I can just go over my choices. And then after I go over my choices, I'll talk about the board and how to build everything in general. So, I think the portal that we're playing in this game is going to be Prismatic End. I think Prismatic End is usually pretty bad, so Prismatic Finale, I believe it's called. I hate playing around Prismatic Finale because I find that you really have to high roll, because, like, you know, if your last augment, you know, you get something that's useless. For example, you get one of the ones that's like impenetrable bulwark and you get a bunch of items, or you get something that's like not very useful. You run into like a really awkward problem. Build-A-Bud here is a little bit too much for me because it like Build-A-Bud, there's like tech that you basically take Build-A-Bud and then you try and upgrade into a free 3-star 2 cost, right? You take this and then you get the polymorph. March of Prague is also really good for reroll, but I don't think I have a particularly great reroll spot. If you look at my items, there's no like offensive component that I really know what direction I'm going to be playing around, besides if I play something like Wukong. So I'm thinking about Build-A-Bud, just because, like, you know, for fun, because this was on stream obviously, or I could take one of the reroll ones. I'm basically taking my time trying to think. I'm looking at what everybody else is playing. Ideally I want to take March of Progress and play around Wukong, but then I see somebody else took Build-A-Bud, I'm like, I don't think it's great. I see SUGARCRAFT, I take it instantly. Because I'm like, okay, yeah, that's easy for me. So SUGARCRAFT Crown, the prismatic does really well, and I'll try and explain it. But basically, if we look at I'll pull up the stats and then I'll go show you how to build like a SUGARCRAFT board that works pretty reliably. If you look here, I'm just sorting by all augments in the game, Diamond plus Elo. And if you look at them all, obviously there's going to be stuff that's broken, like Spider Queen and Little Buddies and Portal Crest. But then out of nowhere, SUGARCRAFT Crown. SUGARCRAFT's really good. If you look at it, averages like a 4.0. It's a very strong augment. And you might think to yourself, well, why is it so strong? The main thing you should look at is this top 4 percentage versus win percentage. SUGARCRAFT Crown, it says that it averages a 4.0. However, its top 4 percentage isn't as high as some of the other things that are a lot better. If you look at the top 4 percentage, it's closer to 50 than it is to 60. Even something like Raid Boss that averages the same, you'll see that it has a 60% top 4 percentage. The main thing is this win percentage. If you look at it, if you sort by highest win percentage, the ones that have the highest win percentage is something like Fortune Favors the Bold, Golden Quest, Little Buddies, but also SUGARCRAFT Crown. And the reason is that SUGARCRAFT is based on getting cash outs in the later game. A lot of the stats that say SUGARCRAFT is really good is the implication that you're actually going to cash out and win out the lobby. A lot of the average placement of this, it's not, I'm not saying it's very first or eighth. I think you can still get a reliable top 4 playing around 6 SUGARCRAFT. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of the time you really need to hit the Gwen. Like, you need to cash out in order to like actually convert this into like, wow, this feels like a very high roll game. It has the highest win percentage, so a lot of times when you're taking it, you should be trying to play for first with it. That's how you get the most out of it. Now, why is it so good at winning? Because it gives you a SUGARCRAFT Crown, and it also gives you a Redemption. So Redemption is a really good late game item, because Redemption basically gives healing and a bit of damage reduction, and it can help out multiple of your frontline units at the same time. And the SUGARCRAFT emblem with the Rumble, basically you start stacking SUGARCRAFT right off rip, and then you also get the Redemption, which helps increase your SUGARCRAFT stacks. And the idea with SUGARCRAFT, if we go to the team builder, I'll just put in all the SUGARCRAFT units. There's 5 of them. So in order to play 6 SUGARCRAFT, which is the max of the trait, you need a SUGARCRAFT +1. So a lot of times your board is going to look something like this. I'll just put in all the units, but you have a lot of options. A lot of times you're going to play around level 8, but there's 2 different boards that you can play. I'll just put in all of these units for now, but your board often looks like this with these 7 units. You can put in Recon, or you can put in a different Vanguard unit, but basically you'll have some sort of front line, some sort of SUGARCRAFT holder, which is going to be some sort of damaging unit, and then you're going to play all the SUGARCRAFT units and play 6 SUGARCRAFT. Now, when you're playing 6 SUGARCRAFT, you basically have one of 2 options. You're either going to primary carry Jinx, or you're going to primary carry Gwen, but you're usually going to carry both of these units. Bard is a little bit awkward to play around sometimes, and Soraka, you kind of forget about Soraka because she's the 1 cost, so you usually just end up trying to play towards these higher cost SUGARCRAFT units. If you reach SUGARCRAFT, based on being 2, 4, or 6 SUGARCRAFT, your team basically gains cake layers, and these cake layers increase the amount of ability power and AD that your units get. One of the best users of SUGARCRAFT is going to be Jinx, because if you read Jinx's ability, she does bonus true damage based on her AP and her AD. So a lot of times, if you're playing SUGARCRAFT, you have 2 options. Basically, you can play a board like this. You don't have to play Recon. Recon is Preserver, but you can play... I'll put in all the units just so that we have like a general idea. But typically, you're playing around some subset of all of these units, right? And I'll put a SUGARCRAFT emblem on Fiora. You're either going to SUGARCRAFT Olaf or SUGARCRAFT Fiora. You're going to play Tahm Kench Rumble as your front line a lot of the time, or you're going to play Recon, which gives Preserver with the Bard. But you're going to play some rendition of these units. And if you're playing for Jinx 3, sometimes if you hit an early Gwen, what you can do is you can reroll on 7 and just play a Jinx reroll style board, where then you're just trying to make as many good Jinx items as you can. So something like Runans, and Guinsoo. When you're playing around SUGARCRAFT as well, because she's going to have so much AP and AD, you might not even need Guinsoo. Sometimes it's good just to put like raw damage on her, like a Deathblade or other stuff like that, but I'm just putting these for sake of example. And then Gwen, typically you'll have something like, I believe her best items is like Blue Buff, Gunblade, and Spark, something like that. But basically what you're going to do is, if you're playing around Gwen as your primary carry, like you want to play a level 8 board, then you're typically going to play Fiora on your board and SUGARCRAFT emblem the Fiora, and you might not even play Olaf, but you'll play a board similar to this on level 8. If you have the Jinx reroll, if you're playing around Jinx primary, then instead of SUGARCRAFTing Fiora, you don't even have to play Warrior for Gwen, because it doesn't do that much. It just gives her like damage amp and a little bit of Omnivamp. Instead, you can play the Olaf for Hunter, and then you can play around Jinx 3 and Rumble 3, and you can reroll on level 7, right? Because on level 7, basically you just pick one of these front lines, whichever one you hit, and you can play 6 SUGARCRAFT on level 7 and then level up for Fiora or some warrior to help out your Gwen later. So you basically have these 2 different options that you can play around. I'm not sure which is the better option. I think that if you're trying to play for a first, if you're trying to max cap the board, then typically you'll have a board that looks something like this. Where you'll have both the Fiora and the Olaf, and often you'll try and play around like a Morgana late game that gives you Preserver as well as Witchcraft for the Fiora, and then you'll have the Tahm Kench that stuns and helps your Rumble as a Vanguard, and you're trying to 3-star everything. With this comp, you very rarely go level 9, so a lot of times you just, like, I either don't play Fiora or I don't play Olaf, depending if I have Jinx items or not, and I'll play this board on level 8, and I'll just roll on level 8, trying to get the cash out, and then trying just to win out on level 8. Instead of using my gold to push levels, I will just use it to reroll until I have Jinx 3 and Rumble 3, and maybe even Bard 3. So let's go back to the game. We're at Krugs now. So this was really important. So as you can see, I'm in a really good win out position. I'm already 4 SUGARCRAFT. I found the Jinx naturally. The thing with the SUGARCRAFT that's really good is that it gives you a Rumble, and it gives you the +1. So it's very easy for you to find, obviously, to find a Soraka early. Sometimes you get jailed out that you don't have a Jinx early. I would say that if you don't have a Jinx by 3-1, you should start to get a little bit worried about your win out potential and start trying to gear yourself towards playing for a top 4. You really, really want 4 SUGARCRAFT in for all of stage 3. If you don't have 4 SUGARCRAFT in on stage 3, you're probably not going to reach those higher cash outs that you would get with the SUGARCRAFT that will allow you to hit those max caps and hit that high threshold. The other thing you should always do is slam items. Here, I'm not sure if I'm playing towards Jinx or Gwen, but I slam all my components and I try and make as many items as possible. One of the cash outs later, which we'll go over the SUGARCRAFT cash outs, is a golden remover, so you'll always be able to fix up your items a little bit if you're playing vertical SUGARCRAFT and you're gearing yourself towards like a level 7 or level 8 board around 6 SUGARCRAFT. Eventually, it's not even that hard to get to the golden remover cash out, because I think it's the second cash out after the main one, so you'll be fine, and then you can just use that to rearrange your items and fix up stuff later, which is totally okay. And then once you have a golden remover, all your other removers, by the way, so here I don't want to use my removers early because all my other removers will turn into reforgers. So if I'm really stuck that some of the items I slammed I feel like are griefing my game, then you can use all the reforgers that you have in order to fix up your board. Here, it rolled silver. I know there's going to be a prismatic ending augment. So Exiles is pretty good. I took Thieves Gloves because I was just trying to figure it out. I actually didn't know because it's been a while since I played SUGARCRAFT if Thieves Gloves counts as 2 components or if it counts as more components. It only counts as 2 components. So I took it to check mostly, but in my head I was like, this goes thematically with having items on my board to get my SUGARCRAFT stacks as high as possible. As you can see, the SUGARCRAFT crown, starting with 2 SUGARCRAFT and already hitting 4 SUGARCRAFT early, I'm already like almost at 250 stacks. My stacks are going to the moon. I'm going to be in a very good spot for late game. I also naturaled an Olaf. It's a very high roll game, so obviously that's what I meant by it's going to be a fun one. Some of your SUGARCRAFT games might not look like this. You might take SUGARCRAFT crown and you don't have a Jinx and your board is nowhere near stable and you're not getting 4 SUGARCRAFT stacks in. The stacks are super important, especially in these early rounds. Even though like later rounds you'll cash out a lot faster because you'll have more items on your board, so you'll earn more. If you're playing for the top 1, like the win, you need to have 4 SUGARCRAFT in really early. So it's really nice. I'm just probably going to be playing around Olaf and Jinx possibly. We're going to see how it plays out. You can even play 4 SUGARCRAFT Jinx with the +1 and just play like the typical Wukong Jinx board, which I didn't show you guys because it's not what I'm doing particularly in this video. But we'll see and we will play it out. I think there is another guy that's playing Wukong Jinx, which is why I end up deciding not to go Jinx reroll. Here I'm just trying to fix up my board a little bit, maybe make Econ, play some of the other units. I think this made me weaker, by the way. I don't think it's necessarily that strong. I think there's the other thing that's really great with SUGARCRAFT is if you can lose streak early, which I think I lost a lot of on stage 2. You can get a nice early carousel pick, so especially on your stage 3 carousel, if you can find an early Gwen, that sets you up really, really well for late game. A lot of times Gwen is really contested because a lot of people that usually just play warriors or play some variation of preservers and warriors. So like the whole Bard Gwen synergy usually gets eaten up by much of the lobby. So sometimes it can be really hard to find that last Gwen, and that's why I was saying that's a little bit risky when you take SUGARCRAFT. Obviously, it's going to be very strong. There's always the fantasy that you're going to cash out and be like the strongest in the lobby and all sorts of stuff like that. The thing is that you have to understand that a lot of the games you play SUGARCRAFT might end up just fizzling out to like a 5th or a 6th. It's just the way that the trait kind of operates. I don't know if they're going to nerf some of the cash outs or make it so that it has like a lower win percentage. Here I just kind of sit because Gwen's not on my side, so I don't want to, just in case he thinks that I need the Gwen. Like obviously I need the Gwen, but just in case he's like, you know, trying to grief me. I know that he doesn't need the Gwen because he's not playing around it. But you know what I mean. I just wanted to try. That's why I didn't run towards the Gwen. Basically, we got Gwen off carousel. That's like the best case scenario. So far, we already got an Olaf. We have a Gwen. We have a Jinx with some items. We're in a really insanely good spot. And that's why this game, it's like more of like, okay, we got to try and like play for a first here. That's something that's really understated sometimes when you're playing the game. You really have to decide, are you playing for a first or not, right? Playing for a first means that, like, if you think that you can win out and you're going to be stronger than most of the lobby, you can greed and try and play for, like, that narrow chances, right? Try and, like, greed, maximize your odds of, like, hitting, like, the giga units and stuff like that. If you don't think that you're playing for a first, then you should always prioritize making your board a lot stronger in the mid game in order to have a lot of HP so that you bleed out, so that when you're not stronger late game, you still can bleed out to a top 4. That's what I mean by playing for first versus not playing for first. So when I'm saying I'm playing for first here, what I'm trying to say is that I will probably greed as much as I can. I don't care too much about my HP. So long as I have enough to hit my board and stabilize, I'll be able to late game scale and then beat the rest of the lobby. As you can see here, I'm probably already going to be at 5 SUGARCRAFT stacks. So 5 out of 7 cake layers is already massive. Because basically like partway through stage 4, we're already going to be cashing out to our 7 SUGARCRAFT, right? Or sorry, our 7 cake layers, and then past 7 cake layers there's going to be a couple extra cash outs. I can actually show you those right now because I didn't show you yet. So in terms of the cash outs, it's a little bit spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled by stuff like this, like if you're playing TFT for fun, then by all means just like skip ahead 20 seconds. But SUGARCRAFT, basically, once you hit 7 layers, you'll get 10 gold in a component. Then 8 layers, you'll get some more gold in another component. And then you get the golden remover that I was talking about. Then after that, you get a duplicator. And then pretty much your win con, I would say, is right at 10 layers. The champ duplicator, you can go for like a Gwen 3 or like any sort of 4-cost 3-star. That's why I usually just stay on level 8. I don't really level to 9 to try and play some crazy board. Because if you get to 9 cake layers, you have a win con here. But typically, you win out once you hit the Masterwork upgrade at 10 layers. And then 11 layers, we'll see how it goes in this game. I don't know if we're going to hit it or not. You know, make sure to watch the end of the video to see that. But then you get a fawn. And 11 layers also has another hidden thing that happens, which we may or may not see. If we do see it, I'll point it out in this video. But there's another hidden thing with 11 cake layers that doesn't say there. So here, I'm basically level 750. Because there's a guy that looks like he's angling towards Jinx, I don't want to necessarily commit on level 7 to rerolling Jinx. That is something that you can do. Like I said, you could just play a Jinx board on level 7, and once you have Jinx 3, you just level to 8 later, and then you just play on level 8 afterwards. Because I already have one copy of Gwen, I'm more inclined to just level and play on a level 8 board. So that's why I'm just kind of chilling. You really want, like, remember I was saying at stage 3 you want to be 4 SUGARCRAFT. You really want to be 6 SUGARCRAFT on stage 4, right? Stage 3 you want to be 4 SUGARCRAFT. Stage 2 doesn't really matter. If you're 4 SUGARCRAFT on stage 2, it's pretty high roll. Excuse me. But you kind of have to natural the units as well, because obviously, like, if you start stage 3 and you don't have a Jinx or Bard, you can't just roll until you hit a Jinx or Bard, because you might grief your entire game and your entire econ by doing that. The same way here, right? I'm hoping that on my roll down, I'll find a Bard or a Gwen. So that there's many points with SUGARCRAFT that you have to quote unquote high roll a little bit. So I already have the Gwen, which is really good. If I didn't have a Gwen here, the situation would be very scary, because even though I have so many SUGARCRAFT stacks, there's a chance that I don't stabilize on level 8, and I don't hit the 6 SUGARCRAFT on level 8, which gives my team such a increase in damage as well as the increase in the scaling factor. So it's definitely not what the forge here, because my items are fine. Golden egg is a little bit risky. I never really want to take golden egg. The reason I don't want to take golden egg is because this might seem like, oh, you take golden egg here for sure. No, it's like golden egg, what people don't realize is it puts you down a whole prismatic. So while everybody else is spiking their board in some way, golden egg, you don't spike your board and you basically have to cash it out in order to like have any semblance of success. So a lot of times it's actually just a big grief, and I wouldn't necessarily suggest ever going for it. I find the Bard. I take Infinity Force because I know Infinity Force is really good on Gwen, and the way that I'm thinking about it is that I'll just put the other item on the Jinx. I know I don't have a Gwinsu Jinx, like I don't have attack speed on the Jinx, but if you watch this Jinx, even as a Jinx 2, she's going to do so much true damage that as long as she casts her ability, she's basically going to shred through the entire board. Like she's going to absolutely delete units. So I'm not too worried about the Jinx damage. Like I don't need her to ramp up in speed, because basically I'm just waiting for her to cast, and then when she casts, she'll just like delete the board, right? So as you can see here, she casting, and she's gonna go nuts. And this is with 2 items, by the way. It's just because she does so much true damage based on her AP and AD, and if you're playing vertical SUGARCRAFT with Jinx, it's a little bit less important to have her like ramp up her attack speed. Something like the typical Jinx board with like Gwinsu, Runans, and all of that. A lot of times when you're playing like a Wukong Jinx, you're trying to stall out because the Wukong is basically unkillable with preservers, and then your 4 Hunter Jinx, so you're getting a bunch of attack like that, and then because you're getting so much attack from Hunter, you then really want the ramping up attack speed. Here, because I'm just waiting for it to cast and just delete units, I'm kind of down for this Jinx to just rock as many items as possible, and obviously you have to slam as many items as early as possible, because you want to scale up your SUGARCRAFT, and you also want to have enough lives, as you want to be healthy enough to make it to like a late game board that is very strong. This guy seems very scary. He's level up and took golden egg, and he also has a Varus 2 with a frost emblem. I don't even know if I beat him this round, but we're gonna see. I think I don't beat him, and I give him one of the egg cash outs, which is really bad. Yeah, see, like my Gwen just died from the execute, I believe. I just barely didn't beat him, by the way, which is just so unfortunate. Yeah, because this guy might be a problem late game. This is what I mean by sometimes you just don't win out. Like, this guy's spot is insanely good for a win out, so it's very scary. Anyways, hopefully everybody's having a great weekend. I just repotted all of my plants, so that's really great. So it should be back to streaming hopefully tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes because I'm going to be busy. I have some appointments to go to. But once we get through that, should be fine. But we just take any component here. I'm going to be putting the Infinity Force on the Jinx, by the way, because she's giving me my extra carry. So I just take a tier. I'm just taking whatever I can. Obviously, we can also itemize the Olaf. So like Hodge and other things are really good. But tier is pretty flexible in making a tank item or a backline item. As you can see, because we've been scaling so well for most of the game, we already cashed out. So we got a bunch of gold and a component. Here I just make a second redemption. I don't really care. I can reforger it later, like whatever. I already used my reforgers because I was like fixing my items. I used my remover because I want to put the I want to put as many items on this Gwen as possible. And if you look at the damage board, the Gwen 1 does almost as much damage as the Jinx 2. And it's just because of like the SUGARCRAFT stacks, right? I'm already at max stacks. I'm at 7 cake layers. So as of right now, my board won't get any stronger. I'm just trying to reach these additional cash outs in order to then push my board to the next level where I'm insurmountably stronger than other people in the lobby. But yeah, the Gwen fucks, the Jinx fucks, like we're strong as shit, right? This guy looks very strong with upward mobility. You'll see the Jinx does a shit ton of damage. Olaf's doing a shit ton of damage. Like I said, we'll get a golden remover later so we can fix up the items a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm probably going to be rolling for a charm every single turn here. Here I get my second Infinity Force, which I can put on Jinx. I could also put it on Olaf later. It's also a fine item on Olaf. But that's why I basically took it, because of the prismatic enders, there wasn't anything that was super crazy. Obviously, I would have preferred a combat. Like if I got Giant and Mighty, for example, I would have taken that over Infinity Force. But in this case, it does help itemize both my carries. And as you can see, we're at 7 out of 7 cake layers, and we have a bunch of extra AD and AP on everybody. So, pretty smooth sailing game so far. Every turn I'm rolling for a charm, by the way. I don't really want to greed and go 9. I could go 9 and fix up my board a little bit. Obviously, I have like a Mordekaiser as like one of my units. I can put in a Preserver or something else. There's other boards, there's other things I can play that really spike my board a little bit better. But I can play Fiora and get Warrior on the Gwen, because Warrior is really important in giving Gwen a little bit of extra damage, and she's already doing so much for my board. But basically, every turn I'm just rolling for charm because I just want to live. I don't want to accidentally lose any of these fights really badly, because right now I'm just in the cash out stage. If I can make it to Radiant item, right, there's a Masterworks upgrade cash out. If I can make it there, this Gwen is going to be so incredibly fucking strong. It's not even close. And I'm already like close to cash out, so it's pretty good. Obviously, I can also go for Rumble 3 and Jinx 3. If the Jinx player in the lobby dies, I think they already started to pivot off of Jinx because they saw that I was playing Jinx. You know, we both had the same idea of, I guess we're not playing Jinx, either of us. But ideally, what I would like to do is hit Jinx 3, hit Gwen 2. I don't want to greed and try and, like, not buy any charms and try and make it to level 9. Because then I might run into a situation where, how do I phrase it? Where I lose a battle really badly to somebody else that has a really strong prismatic or really strong board in general, and then I'll run in. Then I'll just die, right? I'll die and I'll bot 4. I think going 9 with this comp especially is really fake. I know that you can fit in like 3 or 4 or 5 Preserver, and you can fit in Gwen and fit in Vanguard and fit in Hunter, and it seems like it's really good on paper. The thing is, it's more important just to win all of these rounds or lose them very narrowly, because if you get the cash outs, you'll be fine, right? The cash outs will make you win. Like getting in 3 Preserver to make it to level 9 isn't as important as Jinx 3 and Gwen 2. So I just want to roll on this level. Now I'm probably going to roll a lot deeper, by the way, just because I am 1 off Gwen, 1 off this, and I have Tahm Kench, right? I have multiple units that I can upgrade. So I'm going to roll pretty deep on level 8 every turn just to try and make it to those units. There's a Fiora here. It wasn't my team planner. I'll buy it, but I'm likely not playing around Fiora because I don't have Fiora items. And because I'm so close to Jinx 3, I'm more so playing towards the Jinx 3 out. And as you can see, it is getting a little bit stressful, right? We're not the highest HP in the lobby anymore. We're definitely falling down a little bit. But I'm going to buy Charm. I get a cash out. This is what I was talking about. So now I have the Golden Remover. The next cash out is the Masterworks upgrade. And I will get that in 2 rounds. Approximately 2 rounds. So I just have to live 2 more rounds, and I will get a Radiant item in addition to all my other shit. Here I'm 1 off Jinx. Often in these setups, I'll usually hold on to Gwen's or Olaf's, just because if I make it to the champion duplicator round, then I could like the champion duplicator cash out. I can then use that to get like a Gwen 3 as a win con. Oh, sorry, I don't get the radiant item in 2 rounds. I get the radiant item in I think 4 or 5 rounds. In 2 rounds, I get a duplicator, and I can greed the duplicator, or I can use it on either of these units to get Jinx 3 or Rumble 3, which is great. So this guy, level 9, doesn't matter. I'm much stronger than him. If I hit either of these 3-star, it's pretty much like we're in game-winning contention now, because we're already have Gwen 2, so we're super stable. As you can see, we get so many. Oh, I don't get that many. I only got like 150. Okay, it's gonna be 3 turns, so 2 more turns. I roll, I hit Olaf, and I hit the Jinx. I think the Jinx player sold the Jinxes by now, so Jinx 3 is really good. That means we're always gonna be playing this Olaf just to keep Hunter in. And now we should be like relatively strong. We're basically 6 SUGARCRAFT, max stacks, Jinx 3. The Jinx items are fine, by the way. I know that there's no attack speed. I mentioned it before. It's not that important. It's like pretty important sometimes, but it's not that important. This is the only guy that might beat me. I let him win that 1 round, which was really unfortunate, because now for sure he's going to cash out Egg. If I beat him that round and then I beat him here, he would have been dead. It was just that I wasn't caught in a point where my board wasn't as strong as his, but he's nowhere close to me. Hopefully I can live long enough to get to the later cash outs to be able to beat this Egg player, or else we probably won't go first, because this guy has a really good spot to go first, basically. There's nothing really crazy here. There might be like a guy going 10 portal. I don't think I scouted for that, but other than that, there's nothing insane. I would really like Spark, because I can easily put this on Gwen and it will up her damage by a lot. Gwen really likes to have, a lot of times Gwen likes to have tanky items, or like AP focused items, obviously. Even now after the Gwen buffs, Spark is really good on Gwen, just because she scales with the amount of cast that she does. So if you give her a little bit of tankiness, so if you give her something like, you know, a Spark, which isn't the most tanky item, but it's a little bit tanky, it helps her out a lot. And also it helps her to shred everybody, right? So everywhere she goes, because she dashes around everywhere, she'll always be reducing the amount of magic resist that enemies have, and that's why Spark's really good. The main reason I'm talking about tankiness is because Spark compared to Shiv, right? Like Shiv isn't as good on Gwen, because even though she's like a damage unit, having a little bit of extra stats defensively helps her out. It goes a long way, basically. But this Rumble gains durability based on his stacking AP, and because of 6 SUGARCRAFT, he has a bunch of AP. So this Rumble's gonna be tanky as fuck. This guy's tanky as fuck, right? I might hit Gwen 3, so I'm just like rolling. I'm rolling pretty deep, but I'm basically just rolling for charm every turn. And we're making sure that we don't lose these rounds. And if you look at the Jinx, as soon as she casts, she just starts deleting units. Ooh, this guy's kind of strong, because the Smolder scales really hard, but we should still beat him. Yeah, look at this Jinx. Just 3-shot the Smolder. Just absolute menace, right? You can see that she does like almost like 25% of her damage is true damage. Now we get the golden cash out, so we get the golden duplicator, and we also get a whole set of items. So here I just put Deathblade on Olaf, because Deathblade is just really good on Olaf in a lot of cases. I know I have Redemption on him, but it's fine. It's just a tanky item, because he's going to gain a bunch of AD from being Hunter. And then the Deathblade helps him to one-shot units, which helps him to proc the Hunter as well as his ability. I'm still buying charms every round. I don't really care about Econ and going up to level 9. Obviously, Warrior will help Gwen out a lot. You have the option to go 9. Now I'm not really rolling for anything anymore, because I upgraded everybody and everything's good. But I'd rather just like buy these charms. The lobby is very close. Everybody's still alive except for this guy. So 7 people alive right now. So we want to be careful. I don't want any fight to be a charm diff. I'm 31 HP, right? If I lose 2 fights, that's it. The game's over. So if you're playing for first, I wouldn't really like necessarily want to level for Fiora and just greed every single round. Instead, I'm just going to roll every single round for a charm. If I don't see a good charm, I'm going to keep rolling until I see a good combat charm. Because I should be stronger than most of the lobby now. There's just I think that just the cash out guy that I'm scared of. Because I don't even think the Vigor player can really out DPS me. Because my Jinx is going to do so much damage. As you can see, next cash out is going to be the Radiant item. So as soon as we get the Radiant item, we're in a good spot, basically. So I'm basically just committed to rolling on level 8. Ideally, I can also upgrade this Tom Kench. I'm greeting this duplicator a little bit here, but I should be fine. I think I just take Shiv, but that might just be me. I think any item here is fine. Or even Hodge. Like, I can take the redemption off of this guy now, which is fine. I buy Charm, which is the trench coats, so that's why I just frontline those units a little bit, try and make some extra bodies to soak up some damage, especially against the Viger player. It's really good. And I'm just slow rolling to 10 every single turn. I already bought the Charm, so I don't have to roll that deep, but it's mostly if I can just get the Tom Kench and just guarantee myself a high placement. This guy's very fucking strong, by the way, but, you know, it's okay. This Gwen's a demon. Even without Warrior, the Gwen's gonna fucking delete everybody. Yeah. Olaf damage was really high. That's great for me. We're basically just playing for first if we can. If we can't get to first, we're definitely top 4 for sure this game. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about items in general. I could rearrange the items a little bit here. Like, I could have taken a better damaging Olaf item, but I kind of like Olaf being tanky. The main thing that my board lacks is frontline. If you look, basically my frontline is entirely this Rumble. So I kind of do enjoy the fact that the Olaf has the redemption, because when the Olaf dives the backline, he kind of lives a little bit longer. I think Gwen's best item is Radiant Spark. It gives her passive healing as well. In addition to like doing the whole spark thing of shredding, so that she does extra damage. So here I found 2 Gwens. You know, 3 more Gwens and I win the game for sure on the spot. This is the only guy that was super. This isn't even the Cashout guy, is it? This is another guy that has Varus 2 with a Frost Emblem. So I think the Cashout guy just happened to die, maybe to this guy that's really strong. This guy's scary because I think, like, you know, this Olaf has like insane items, and the Varus could easily just snipe my backline if I don't target it well. Yeah, as you can see. So this was a positioning diff, right? I should have won this fight, but I lost because of positioning. If my Jinx was on this side, then she would have targeted the Varus first, and I would have won the fight. Because he had a Hui on this side, my Jinx targeted this guy, and it gave the Varus time to cast and then kill my Jinx. Whenever you have a stronger front line than your opponent, I made a positioning guide that I talked about this a little bit. If your front line is stronger than your opponent, you should same side your carry, as long as you're not at risk of getting sniped. Because then, if your front line lives, you'll kill their main carry before their main carry targets yours. There, my Jinx got caught trying to kill this Hui that was absurdly tanky for some reason. And then I wasn't able to, the Varus was able to cast and execute. So that fight was lost to positioning. I don't think I lose against that guy if I fight him again and I properly position. This is the Viger player. I don't know if I beat him. This is gonna be kind of scary. Oh boy. Do I live with 1 life? Oh, that's so lucky. I killed just enough. This guy, holy shit. I have 2 duplicators, by the way, so I only need to find 2 Gwens. If I find 2 Gwens, I win. There's no Gwen on carousel. So I'm going to roll pretty deep here for the Gwen 3. And yeah, we just got to hope. I take Giant Slayer. I should have taken most amount of gold, by the way. Giant Slayer is good on Jinx because it'll just give her a little bit of extra attack speed. So I'm probably going to switch the IE to somebody else. Like the Infinity Edge. I think that's why I took Giants. Like, this is way better on this. I gained 30 armor. I don't have any gold is the problem. And I'm 1 turn away from Cashout. So like I said, if I just win this 1 fight, I should win the game. But this is what happens a lot with SUGARCRAFT, right? Imagine if at any of those points, like imagine if I didn't have an early Gwen. Imagine if I didn't have Jinx 3. Imagine if I didn't have Rumble. Oh, I just reforged the IE. I should have just put on Olaf, honestly. Yeah, and I don't find the 2 Gwens, which is fine. I fight Clone, so that's good. So I basically guarantee Cashout now, which means I pretty much guarantee the win. But this is what happens a lot of the time, right? And I thought it was a really interesting thing to show in the video, because even this game, that it's like, it's probably going to end up being a first, because I'm going to make it to the last Cashout. You can see that it's like, it's 6-5, right? I had to play really, really aggressively most of the game. I rolled all my gold on level 8, making sure that I upgraded all my units. And it's still just a narrow win, right? Obviously, my last augment isn't as good as it could be, because it's just the Infinity Force. But here, you just get a Fawn. And I didn't really get anything else here, which kind of sucks. So now I'm trying to decide what I do. I should have just bought the dude, but that's my bad. Yeah, that's my bad. I should have bought what's his name? Yeah. I should have bought Rakan to get extra preserver. But here I just put in Tristana for blaster. I was actually a bit shocked here, right? The reason I was shocked is because I thought I was going to get a bunch of gold. So I was gearing down to roll down, and it doesn't give any gold. But if you watch it, look how funny this is. Ready? It starts dropping pastries on everybody. And look at my board. They're all just getting bigger and bigger. It actually just gives everybody infinite health. I didn't know that because I never made it to this cash out. But yeah, isn't that nuts? Oh my gosh, I was so scared. I was so scared I was going to lose this game because I thought I was going to have to roll down, right? I thought I was going to roll down for Gwen 3 there. So when I didn't see the cash out, I kind of panicked a little bit because I was like, where's all my gold? Where's all my gold? And I was panicking, but actually it's fine because the 11 cash out is pretty much a guaranteed win like that. It gives you a bunch of HP. It makes your whole board like unkillable. It's like Giga Juice everybody. So as you can see, it ended up being a first. This is what happens a lot with SUGARCRAFT. Even if I didn't hit like max cash out and other people outscaled me, I probably would have reliably ended up as a fourth. The average is so high because it has this huge win con that you can hit. You have multiple win cons, right? You can hit Gwen 3, you can hit Masterworks, which gives you a whole Radiant item. You can hit Jinx 3. Like there's many options to cap out your board. And then if you make it to the max cash out, you get a Fawn and the ability for all units to get like infinite HP. So it's actually really strong, and I suggest you try taking SUGARCRAFT, especially if you don't know what you need to play. It's a very fun augment to take, SUGARCRAFT +1, but the Prismatic is the main one because Prismatic also gives you the redemption, and that's the one that really helps you out a lot of the time because starting out with a whole extra item makes your stacks work out to be a lot higher into the late game because you're basically up a whole item. The gold version of it also does really well, but it's not nearly as good as the Prismatic one. And that was a variation that I played. I didn't have Warrior for Gwen, obviously. You can level and play Warrior for Gwen if you hit early enough. I would only suggest leveling for Warrior for Gwen if you're not going to be playing around Jinx 3, because then your damage is going to be lacking, so you want your Gwen to do a little bit more heavy lifting. But if you're able to roll on 8, I would suggest just guarantee winning rounds by buying charms to make sure that you hit those higher cash outs and then win the game out. Anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully this was an enjoyable video. And yeah, try out SUGARCRAFT. It's really good right now. I expect it, in all honesty, to get nerfed a little bit or reworked a little bit because they're doing like big patch changes. I think that the win chance is really high on it. They might even nerf some of the cash outs to make it a little bit more situationally good, but obviously that's for the future. Goodbye.